You're watching the Business Channel, creating business class programs. Ruskin Air Management is a UK manufacturer of natural ventilation products, and here with me is David Fitzpatrick, who is Sales and Marketing Director of the company. Hello to you.
Hello.
Now, can you explain basically what your company does?
We have three brands here in the UK. We have a company called NACO, which does natural ventilation products, another company called Air Diffusion that basically manufactures grills and diffusers, and another company called Action Air, which does fan coils, smoke and fire dampers.
Now, what impact do you think your products can have on how much carbon we emit and how much energy we use in the workplace?
It's a really important part of our business. What we're finding with one of the brands, NACO, is very recently we brought out a new product called Avengen 28, which is a new glazed louver. When we designed this product, we actually looked at it very differently to how we'd done it before. The real key element for us was looking at how we could actually reduce the carbon. And to do this, it meant we had to have much better U values than we'd had before. And we also had to look at what we were doing from a leakage point of view. We decided very early on in the design side of the product to make absolutely sure we actually got the least leakage we could get from any product on the marketplace. And we found it's been a real success for us in the last 15 months because we've got something that really hits the market. But what was also important to us was the ability to be able to have something that was satisfied the marketplace but also was affordable as well. Because in the economic climate that we've got at the moment, it's important to be able to do these things, but we also must make it affordable.
Now, what are the implications of we're trying to emit less carbon, we're trying to use less energy, and also flexible working? A lot of people don't even come into the office to work. Do you think that's going to affect the way buildings look in 5 to 10 years' time?
To be honest, no, I don't think it will. I think what will change, the buildings will look the same, but I think a lot of basic engineering will change quite a lot. People will look a lot more at the energy efficiency of all the products which they're using. I think the thing that will change most in 5 years is instead of having ventilation that's working all the time, you'll go to more demand ventilation. So it'll only be on when it's actually required. And a lot of that will do not only with the product, but also the way that the building is controlled. But I think there's also some real simple solutions which are available, but they must be done on a regular basis. One of them is we do solar shading for the outside of the building. And that's made a massive impact to actually what's used inside the building. So instead of temperatures which they were looking at controlling internally, they've been able to bring those temperatures down. So it means the size of the main air handling plant will actually be smaller than it would have been maybe 2-3 years ago. The other one that we're also looking at, again, a very basic thing, is making sure we get the right product. One of our brands, Air Diffusion, which manufactures grills, what we've found on a lot of projects is because they've not actually thrown the air into the right place in the building, what's happened is they've got the big air handling units compensating for that and actually working overtime. Whereas if they come to us, we'll select the right product for them so the air gets to the right place and therefore they can make the units smaller than they used to have.
Now, how can you facilitate CIBSE members trying to meet these criteria in their work? And can you give me any case examples?
As a business ourselves, one of the important things for us is education. It's really important that we go to people and explain what we're able to do, not just from our products, but also even from our competitors about what a difference it will make if they do certain things differently to how they work at the moment. Another thing that I think is quite important, I'm a member of a thing called CIBSE Patrons, and that's an organisation which is to do with manufacturers and main contractors. And it's very important that we're a lot more collaborative than we've been before. And what we'd really like to see with CIBSE Patrons is for CIBSE to come and talk to us a little bit more about what they're looking for from the industry. It's important that we're the people who actually bring the innovation in, but we want to bring the right innovation in and we want to do it at the right price so people are actually using it.
Now, do you think in creating a low carbon workplace that retrofits and refurbs are the most realistic option for most people?
I think the new build's only 1% of the build which is going to happen in the UK, so retrofits are going to be absolutely massive. But again, it's very important that it's done on a massive scale. There's no point doing it in 2 or 3 areas. I believe the construction advisor for the government, Mr. Morrell, has actually said that it needs to be one building every minute up to 2050. It's a massive ask, but I think potentially it could be done.
Now, based on your experience, are there any tips that you would pass on to someone trying to make their ventilation more effective?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is you've got to talk to as many people as possible. It's got to be collaborative. You've got to get people right from the beginning of the design all the way through to the completion, talking at a very early start of the project. I think it's very important you get as much advice as possible from everybody. We work very hard at making sure the specifications are right at the beginning of the project. And what we find, because it is a very competitive market, a lot of the times people will go out and will be able to find a cheaper price. But it's making sure that they're able to say, is that an actual like-for-like product? We're known as Ruskin Air Management as a relatively expensive a product. And we're not ashamed of that. The reason is because we're fully tested, we make sure that all the technical backup is very, very good. I'll give you a really super example of a project at the moment. There's a very large job going on at the moment in London, where not only have we sat down with the building services industry, but we've actually sat down with the owner of the building, even the estate agent who's going to sell the building. So we actually understand what everybody wants on the project. And I hope by the time that job's finished, it'll be a really successful project.
Now, what more do you think that the government could or should be doing to enable a low carbon economy?
I think what's very important, they've put some very, very good ideas into place. And the big thing now is they've got to be able to support the market and actually make sure that their ideas are actually forced through. Sometimes I don't think the government necessarily understand the actual practicalities about, yes, we'd love this theory of this is what we want in the building, but the practicalities for an owner means that it's got to be done a little bit more affordable. But I think there's got to be an area where they've got to be able to say, no, we actually want this, so it becomes legislation instead of recommendation.
Well, David Fitzpatrick, Sales and Marketing Director of Ruskin Air Management, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.